Have you ever imagined how you can create a multi-layer design for your website with the Elementor page builder? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can use layers in your web design projects with the Elementor page builder. Let's get started. In this video, I'm going to show you how I converted my home hero with over 5 widgets here into a multi-layer design using Elementor. So this is actually the new hero section that I created, and I only have one widget that is holding all this content. If I reload this page, you will realize that I have animations running, including a Lottie. This is actually, it can be an icon, but in this case it's an image. This is an image having a blob as a mask, and when I try to scroll, you see that that image is actually moving on the horizontal axis. And also you realize that when I hover over this text, it changes the color. And at the same time, everything here will be perfectly responsive on all devices. So welcome to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Hamza and I create web design tutorials using Elementor. So as you can see, we have over 5 widgets in this hero section, but we are going to reduce that and we only use one widget that is going to be multi-layered, and we add our content like images, text, and also animations, including Lotties. But before we get started, let's first go to our dashboard. Inside our dashboard, you are going to come to plugins, and you are going to have the premium add-ons for Elementor, the free version, and also the premium add-ons for Elementor, the pro version, because this multi-layered widget, or the image widget as they call it, comes in the pro version of the premium add-ons for Elementor. So in case you don't have the premium add-ons for Elementor, I'll leave a link right down in the description of this video. And once you have both of them installed, then you're going to come over here to settings. Under settings, just come over here to widgets and add-ons. So by searching for image or image layers, you'll see it showing up over here. The other thing that you want to make sure that is active is that you enable SVG uploads in your WordPress website. So when we come over here to Elementor, settings, advanced, there is a section that goes like enable unfiltered uploads, and in this case we are going to enable this upload for SVGs and JSON files. Now why do you need to have this activated is because we're going to use a mask for this image over here just to have this shape, which is a blob, and it comes as an SVG. Once that is done, we are going to head back onto our home page where we want to add our multi-layered hero section. In case you are wondering how I came up with this website or the design and everything, I have a tutorial linked down in the description of this video where I showed you how I created every part of this website from zero to hero. So you can check it out in case you want to see how to create this exact website using Elementor for free. So to get started, we are going to come over here and then add a new container. This container will be running in the column direction. And inside this container, we are going to come over here to the container settings. Make sure that it is in the column direction that we have already set. It's going to be centered, or the contents will be centered, and we have to align the items in the center. So straight up, we are going to look up for the image widget. So image layers, in this case, shows up over here. I'll drag it into our container. Now you see we have new options once the image layers widget is selected. We have the option to say add an item. So I'll add an item in this case. And this item is going to be a text item. And this is going to be the word fixers. We will come over here to style. We will come to the text color. That text color is going to be black. Under hover color, we are going to change this to our theme color, which is our orange. And then for the typography, we'll come over here, select a typeface that we want. In this case, I use a typeface called Bebas. I hope that is the right pronunciation. Under size, we are going to change this to EM. In case you are wondering why I'm using EMs, sometimes pixels, sometimes percentages or rems, so I made a specific video about that on the channel and you can always go check it out. So in this case, I'm going to set this to be 26 EM. I'll change the weight to 900 black, and transformation is going to be uppercase. We are going to add some letter spacing. So letter spacing here is going to be in EM 0.1 in this case. So letter spacing EM 0.1. So we can have more space between the letters, Right, so I'm going now to move this word into kind of the center of this canvas because by default the image layer is positioning the items right here on the left hand side, but we have now centered them, so everything is starting like from the center and going the other side. I'll come here to the horizontal offset, and under I'll leave it as pixels, and here I'll make it 600 pixels negative, and you see that now our word is back into here. By the way, we don't need this other section, so I'll be deleting it for now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this main hero that we earlier had, and I'm going to say delete this hero. Now I'm going to select our container. I'll rename this container as our image layer, and I'm going to select that this container is taking up a certain size portion of the screen, and I'll set that to be view height or viewport height. I'll make this to be an 85, something like that. Now this is actually gaining shape, and now you can see where we are headed. I'll come back here, select my image layers widget with our item selected, which is a text item. Under animations, we can add a number of animations to our text here, but there is one that I thought you would find interesting, which is called the minimum mask effect. Let me select the mask color, which is going to be a white. Padding is going to be 80 and 180 at the top. When this animation runs, it will kind of reveal the word, and let's first see how this looks like in a preview. You see how that now runs? Yes, so it kind of reveals the word to the right hand side. If you want to check it out, please feel free to check that out, but I will not be using it in this tutorial. I was just thinking that I found it interesting to check out anyway. Back into our main container, which is this here, we're going to add a little trick so that it looks a little bit fancy. So with our container selected here, we are going to add a background, but this is not just going to be any other background. We're going to add an animated background, and this is an option, by the way, that is brought to you by the premium add-ons for Elementor. So I'm going to select the container. Under the animated gradient option, I'm going to say enable animated gradient. I'll add an item, and here you can add as many gradients to your design as you want. So I'll add another item, but I want this to be a little bit transparent, so I am going to move this to be a 40 transparency level, and this as well will be 40 transparent level. You can decide to change the gradient angle and enable a wave effect if you so wish. So in this case, I am going to say update. All right, now that we have added our text and styled it up and also added our animated gradient, next we are going to look into how we are able to add these kind of features or cool things in our multi-layer design. So first we're going to start with this icon. So we are going to come over here to our editor. With our image layers widget selected, I'm going to add another item. This item is going to be an image, so I'll come over here to upload my image. I'll come to the media library. Since I already have my image uploaded, I'll add that image. I'll come to the style, and here is where I'm going to have to position my icon. But first I'm going to increase on the size of the icon so that it's actually visible. So increase over there, and under the horizontal offset, I'll add a negative 641 pixels, and on the vertical axis I'll add a negative 244 pixels, and as well I'm going to reduce on the size of the icon. So I'll make this to be about 105 pixels, yeah, something like this. But we want to add some life to this icon. Now when you look over here on this page, I'm going to reload. You're just going to observe what that icon does. So when the page loads up, finally you see it's animated and then it curves a little bit. So what we're going to do back here in our editor, we are going to add a rotation angle. So down here we're going to activate rotate, and here we're going to give it degree 37 degrees, and as well we're going to add an animation. So under animations, I'm going to add an entrance animation, and that is going to be a head shake. So is it a head shake? Yeah, it's a head shake animation. For most times, what you see here in the editor may not give you an exact picture of what is happening on the live page. It's best that once you make your changes over here, go to the live or preview page and check out how those changes look like. So now here to the preview page, and voila, looks awesome. And you see just what I just told you. Here it looks a little bit different, but here as well looks very different. And this is what exactly we wanted to achieve. So if I reload the preview once again, you realize our icon has the rotation angle and also has the head shake animation applied. Now, next what we are going to do is to add our image with our blob, and then later on we'll add our Lottie animation that you see animated down below here. So back here, we're going to come and add another item. So add item. And this item is also going to be an image in this case. So come over here, select our item, select our image, select and insert the image. Then we are going to come down below here to mask image shape, a mask to that image. So the image will appear that it's within that shape. So first we add the mask image. This is our mask, which is an SVG blob icon. The website I used to create my SVG blobs is called highk.app. Signing up is for free, so when you click over there, here I'll select blob, and over here I'm going to disable or remove the background color. Now here I can go ahead and play around with the rotations by clicking on this. Once you see the shape that you want, you can simply come over here and download an SVG or a PNG. Alternatively, you can just come over here, change the complexity of the shape, the contrast, and also the size of the shape if you want it to be a little bit bigger. So once you are done, save that SVG, and now it will be downloaded on your computer, and then you will be able to upload that SVG onto your website. Exactly what I did over here. We are going to increase first of all on the size of our image so that it's visible, and it will also appear with a mask in this case. So come over here to style. We're going to increase the width of the image to 448 pixels. Now you see it is showing up somewhere here, but in this case it is not contained within the SVG. So what we are going to do, come over here to the content, under mask size, it's called contain. It's actually supposed to be cover. So once it is covered, this is how it would look like. By the way, there is a little trick to position these widgets by simply dragging it on the screen and put it wherever you want. But in this case, I want to use the horizontal offset to be 55 pixels, and the vertical offset is going to be 280. So I'll change this to 280, and that's it for now. So let's go and look at the preview of this. All right, looks much better. So we have our image within this mask, or the blob SVG that we just uploaded. Now what we are going to do next is to add our Lottie animation, which you see down below here. So to do that, we are going to come back here to our editor. We are going to come here to the items, and we are going to say add an item. Right over here, we're going to come to media type, choose an SVG, choose the Lottie option or Lottie animation, and you're going to go to the Lottie website to get an animation that you want to use in this case. In this case, if you search, for example, for water drop, you'll get a great number of animations that you can use. Once you see one that you want to use on your website, just simply click over there. This will bring up this pop-up for that specific Lottie animation. Copy this URL over here. Once you copy that URL, that's the URL that you are going to be adding over here in the Elementor editor. In this case, I already have a Lottie animation that I'm going to be using, so I'll just copy my URL and paste it right over here in the editor. So paste my Lottie. Now I have to position this Lottie to be somewhere around this image. So to do that, I'm going to come here to style. First, I'm going to increase on the size of this Lottie animation. I'll make this to be 349 pixels. Now it is over there and visible. Like I earlier told you, you can still drag this and position it anywhere you want on the page. So the vertical offset is going to be 14 pixels and the horizontal offset is going to be 79 pixels. The vertical offset is actually negative 14 pixels. Now that is how I position this. Now I can as well add, and here rotate, I'll enable it, and I'll add a negative 107 pixels so that this water spark is sparkling into her smile. All right, now let's have a look at the preview. I'll first save as a draft. We head to the preview page, and boom, there it shows up. Now the next thing is to add our other widgets right over here. For example, the call to action buttons, which look like this. Now, remember on our initial website, we already had that on this layout. So what we are going to do is just to bring up this container and add it into our hero section. Now, to do that, we are going to first of all come back here to our editor, and we are going to add another container, and that container is going to hold the two containers. Now, with the first container selected, I'm going to actually name this layers, and I'm going to drag my layers widget into this container. Now, just make sure that that container is actually having the settings that you had earlier set up, a vertical column and everything centered. And then the other container with it selected, this is actually going to run in the horizontal direction. All right, now we have added our buttons, and remember this container is running in the horizontal direction. Great, now let's go and have a look at the preview. So save a draft. Awesome! Now this shows that our layers design is actually gaining shape the way we want it to be. Now you see our icon shows up over here, or our image icon, our hover works pretty well, our Lottie animation, our image with a mask, and finally we have our call to actions buttons, all looking nice and neat. But it is not yet done until you work on the responsive settings of this exact hero section. So back here in our editor, we're going to go straight to our mobile device. So by opening up our responsive mode, go to the mobile device. Let's start with the main container that is holding our content. We are going to change the minimum height from 75 viewport height to only 50 viewport height, like that. Now we'll come and select our image layers widget. Select the first item, which is the text. Under style, we will start with the change in the typography size. So come over here, change the size to EM, and that is going to be 7.2. And now we are going to reposition that text on our mobile device. So I'll change this to negative 151 pixels, and on the vertical scale, it's going to be negative 90 pixels. We'll close that over and come now down below here to work on our icon, which is animated at the top over there. So we'll come here to style. First of all, we are going to reduce the size of the icon, which is going to be 30 pixels. Horizontal scale is going to be negative 160 in our case. And the vertical scale is going to be 140, which is negative. So 140. And finally, our icon shows up right over there. Now let's go and work on our other items, so which is the Lottie animation and our image. On this image, we are not going to make any changes because first of all, we don't want this to appear on the mobile device. So I'll say hide layer on a mobile. If you also want to hide it on the tablet, please go ahead and have that activated and you will be good to go. Next, we're going to do the same for our Lottie animation. Once you have that item selected, just say disable or hide this layer on the mobile device. I'll update, and now let's go and have a preview. Our page shows up over there, but in this case we want to look at this on a mobile device. So there comes our hero section on the laptop device. All looks good. And hover our text changes, you realize that they are actually layers. This is another layer, this is another layer, and that's another layer. But now we want to look at this on a mobile device. We will try this on the Galaxy Ultra 21. So there it goes. So even when I reload this page, you see that our image doesn't show up, our Lottie animation doesn't show up. It's only the heading that shows up and our buttons that we have left to be active on the mobile device. The same when I change this to another device, let me say iPhone XR 2018, there it shows up, our heading and our buttons showing up over right there, and everything should be working as it should. Now that we know that our page is responsive, let's go and look into the other issues that we want to fix. For example, to add this horizontal parallax effect on your image, come to the item that is holding the image, under style, under animations, You're going to come here to scrolling effect and make sure that you enable the horizontal parallax, and you want to have the direction set. I set mine to left and the speed is 4, which was actually the default, and I set the bottom to 38 and the top to 64%. So that's how I happen to have my image having that horizontal parallax effect in that viewport. For some reason, you may not actually want some of these effects to be applied to the mobile devices, that is the tablet and the mobile phones. The good news is that the image layers widget gives us the option to apply those scrolling effects on certain devices. In this case, I only enable these scrolling effects on only the desktop device. So that means that if you don't add the other devices, those effects will not be applied to other devices. And before I close, just make sure that you test and test and test, because most of these widgets are sort of having some custom positioning, and that means that they may appear different based on the screen sizes your website visitor is using. So if you test this out and optimize it for different screen sizes, then your website visitor will have a good experience while browsing your website. Lastly, to have this word to appear as if it's changing the color whenever the gradient changes is actually a simple effect that I used, which is a screen effect. So when I select the item that is holding the text, so I just simply come over here to style and make sure that you select the blending mode to screen, and there you'll be good to go. I hope this now sums up everything and you have an idea on how you can create this beautiful multi-layer design in Elementor using only one widget called the image layers from the premium add-ons for Elementor. If you found this tutorial awesome and you enjoyed it, make sure that you hit the like button, share it with a friend, and also if you're new to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe. That means a whole lot to me. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.